Hi guys, this is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. I am having a rough day today. I have probably tried to film this video about 3 or 4 times, and so I have a couple pieces already adhered, but I'm going to show you what we're going to do, and we're just going to work through it. So just bear with me. I'm really sorry in advance for the crazy antics that may happen in this video, since it's just one of those days for me. We are using this really beautiful suite called Heart and Home Suite out of the January to June mini catalog. And by the way, if you do not have a demonstrator and you need a catalog, I'd be happy to be your demonstrator and get you started on this crafting journey. So this Heart and Home Suite has 2 bundles. As you can see right here, it also has more products. You can definitely check those out at inkyhandswarmhearts.com. Shop with me and you can see everything that's in my online store. We're going to use both of these products to make this really fun card. This is an overlapping flap card and it is a really fun one. We're using this flower right here, and then we're going to use the bees and the words out of the Honeybee Home. So we are actually using both bundles today. I'm just going to move them out of the way temporarily to start. So to make this card, we're going to use quite a bit of dimensions of cardstock, but just stick with me and I'm sure we'll get to the end and you'll say, oh, it's not as hard as I thought. So we're going to start with a piece that I've already adhered, which you can see. This is a piece of 4 by 5¼ inch pale papaya, and I used 2 strips of 3/4 by 5¼ of the really pretty Heart and Home Designer Series paper. This is what it looks like, and it is beautiful. The back of this one happens to have a wood grain. Actually, all of these in this have wood grain on the other side, but they're all different. How this one's on the diagonal, some are straight, some are skinny, some are wide, some the whole sheet is wood. So there's some really beautiful, and then the other sides have all the pretty colors like this, and you will really love this collection of Designer Series paper. So I've adhered those to the top and bottom, and this is actually going to get attached onto a piece of cinnamon cider, but I can't do that yet. Like, this will get layered on top, obviously not with the mat, but I have adhesive on the back of this, which is why I have it there, but it'll get adhered on the top. But we have some flaps to do first, so I'm gonna get those out of the way. Now the 2 flap pieces that we are going to use are 3 by 3½ inches and 3½ by 4 inches. And once you have those 2 pieces cut down 4 by 3½, you're going to score on the longest side. So the 4-inch side, I went ahead and scored down at 1/2 inch, and on the 3½ inch side, I scored down at 1/2 inch. So these are going to form our flaps, which is why I did not want to glue this down. I kind of got excited and did a little bit of gluing when I first started, which is why I tell you that it's just been one of those days. But we're going to go ahead and attach some glue to the inside of this piece, which is going to adhere it down to the back of our card. So let me just think about it for a second, because I've had, like I said, I've had one of those days. Yes, we're going to adhere this to the inside here. And this is the bigger of the 2 flaps. It's this inside one. So it's going to go on this left side, and it's the larger of the 2. So it's the 3½ by 4. And I'm just going to turn it sideways, which will help me. And I'm going to just slide this in, and I'm just going to make sure that it's even at these 2 sides here, that I have about the same amount of space. And when I'm happy with it, I'm going to go ahead and press that into place. We're going to do the same on the other side with the smaller flap. So on this one, I'm going to go ahead and score it. I'm going to use my bone folder to help me, and I'm going to put adhesive again on the inside of this flap. And from this side, we're also going to stick it in the back. And this time you can see I have a little more room on both sides, but I want it to be about even. And then we're going to go ahead and press that one into place. Now we can attach this piece onto our piece of cinnamon cider, which I'm going to do now because I already have, like I said, some adhesive on the back. And I used my silicone mat to help me out. And we are going to glue this to our piece of cinnamon cider. So let's go ahead and do that. just like that. All right. So now we have our flaps. I'm going to be using our bone folder to help us with that and really burnish those pieces down. And you can stick a little book on it that's kind of heavy also, which will help until it's down. And then once it's down, you're good to go. So those are the two flaps. Now we're going to make those pretty, right? So we're going to start with this piece here of the designer series paper, and we're going to attach that and glue that onto this base. So let's go ahead and put our adhesive. And we'll put it this direction. So we'll leave a little border all the way around. This is so pretty. I really love this paper. Just like that. And then this one is going to get our floral image. So let's go ahead and move this out of the way temporarily, and we're going to go ahead and stamp. So we'll grab our piece here, which is a piece of basic white that's 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 of an inch. And it's going to go on the right panel. I'm going to grab a scrap paper, which has all these little bees on it. And the reason I need that is because I'm going to be inking up this floral image, and it's much bigger than my paper. It's going to get cut off on one end, and I don't want that to go onto my surface, right? So I'm going to have a paper there that's going to grab the ink for me, and we're going to position this. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to put it in from the side so that I can kind of like fill up as much of this piece of cardstock as possible, make it really pretty. I definitely want that flower on there. So we'll press that down. Make sure that we give it some pressure. It's kind of a big stamp. So sometimes if you make a fist, and there it is. Look at how beautiful that is. Oh, I love this stamp. Let's move the scrap paper out of the way. We don't need that chaoticness going on. And when you clean a big stamp with your chamois, I just want to show you that I like to pull the chamois out. I keep it in an old stamp case, but I like to pull it out because when I do that, I can stroke it across like a rag on my stamp and get it nice and clean. So that's how I clean that. Now we're going to stamp one more piece, and it's going to be in our cinnamon cider. And it's going to say, "Such happy news." And we're going to put it on this little piece here. And the reason I'm using this piece is I just want to make sure that I fit it on there. I'm going to trim that down in a minute. So that is going in our cinnamon cider. I'm going to clean that in a minute. Also in our cinnamon cider, on the inside of our card, we're going to do Best of Luck and that bumblebee. So let's go ahead and bring the card in while we let this set to the side. And we're going to do Best of Luck right there. And then we're going to put our cute bumblebee right next to that. Perfect. That's it for our cinnamon cider. We're going to bring the Memento Black back out again. So these, once again, out of the way temporarily. We are going to stamp 2 of our bees. So I have already done that. They are good to go, and I have already cut them out and colored them. But I would stamp them onto these pieces of scrap paper here. And I colored them with my Stampin' Blends. I used the light and dark pale papaya, and then I die cut them out, and then that is how those ended up like so. So we've also die cut out this really pretty flower, which is part of the Honeybee Home bundle. You get dies when you purchase it in a bundle, and then we're just going to poke these little small sections out. I like to use my take your pick tool for these smaller ones and get those. And then this is also going to be used. So I'm going to go ahead and discard this and move these little scrap pieces out into the trash can. And we'll move on to the next step, which is I'm going to show you how to color this. So with our floral image, it is a large floral image, but it is super fast to color it in with our Stampin' Blends. When you color with Stampin' Blends, it just makes everything so easy. I do love that about it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, and I will show you how easy it is to color with the Stampin' Blends. So I'm going to just put this there to hold it in place so I can see what colors I used where. But I'm going to start with the leaves. We're going to knock those out first. So we're going to start with the dark soft seafoam. That when you buy the blends, you get a dark and a light of our Stampin' Up! Exclusive colors. And so I'm going to over the artist's lines where they have the dark part, which would be the shading. And I'm using the dark soft seafoam. Sorry for the squeakiness. Sometimes that happens. Not always, but sometimes. Okay, and that looks like it's about all the leaves there. Make sure that I get that. Okay, and now I'm going to go over the dark soft seafoam with the light soft seafoam. This time I'm going to use the brush tip. And I'm just going to fill in the areas that are not completely filled in. And our leaves are done. Now you can see I have the dark in the dark sections and the light in the light. So that's why it's nice that you get the two colors when you purchase the Stampin' Blends. You get the two. So now we're going to come in with Pale Papaya, same thing. I'm going to use the dark, and I'm going to go over all of the artist's lines that are dark. Now there's a lot more flowers than leaves, so just give me a second while I do that. I'm using the bullet tip, and they're two-sided, our Stampin' Blends. So you have a bullet tip on one side and a brush tip on the other, and I'll be using the brush tip in a minute, but I want to get all of these, and the bullet tip is a little bit thinner, so it's a little bit more precise. And I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, go over all of these shading spots first. There's a lot of flower, as you can see, in this piece. All right, I think I got all of them. Oh, I missed this in the center. All right, now it looks pretty good. Now that dark is really going to pop when we go over it with the light. So I'm going to use the brush tip this time. Oh, I also forgot. I wanted to go around the large flower. I wanted to go around the ends of it as well, because those lines are darker and I wanted those to show really nicely. So bear with me as I do that on just the large flower here. All right. Now we're going to go over in the light Pale Papaya. And you can see it's really quick to color. Once you've done those dark, you can use this brush tip. Just be gentle not to crush it. I'm using kind of the side of it to help me fill in quickly. And you can color so fast with the Stampin' Blends. There we go. So now you can see you have some dark and light spots, and if you want to come in, you can add a little more darkness. I like to do it on my main focal piece using that same marker, the dark Pale Papaya, and just add a little more darkness. Just, you can see how quickly, I'm not putting it everywhere, I'm just adding it as a highlight, just like that. All right, so that piece is ready. We're going to attach it onto a piece of cinnamon cider. This cinnamon cider piece is 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. So there is my, oh, I think I got it a little crooked. I'm gonna move it over a little, if I can. Let's see, I might have to put a little bit more adhesive back there. I want to slide it over slightly. There we go. Now it's much straighter. Okay, so we're gonna attach this piece onto this flap right here. This adhesive is super strong, so make sure that you're ready to stick it down when you put it in that spot there, which I am. Perfect. That looks awesome. All right, we're going to use some dimensionals, and first we're going to attach our little flower. It's going to go over here. I'm going to use some wet adhesive. And I'm just using dots, and the reason I'm using the silicone mat is if I get it on the mat, it won't matter. But I just want to make sure that I have plenty of adhesive so that this little floral piece will stick down onto, and now I'm going to pick it up with a tweezer so I don't get that glue on my hand, or I will try anyway. And we're going to lift open this flap, and we're going to put it as far to the left as we can, just like that. We'll just press it into place, give it a minute to grab. I'm just going to hold it for a second. Perfect. All right, now comes our pretty bees. So we're going to attach this little guy. We're going to put a dimensional on the back. These are minis, so I'm going to put 2 of those on him. And same on this guy. I'll put 2 mini dimensionals. And then I always use my take your pick tool to pull the backs off. To me, it's just so much easier because these get stuck to my take your pick tool, and then I can flick them right into the trash can. They don't end up on my floor. We'll start with this little guy here, and he's gonna live right here like he's landing on this flower on this section of my card. And then this little guy is like, he is on this flower. I wanna make sure that my flap can still open, so I'm going to have it closed while I put my bee down. I'm very happy with that. Now, let's trim down our words. I'm going to use a mini guillotine trimmer, which I love to use for things like this. Stampin' Up does not sell those. This was a demonstrator promotion. When you signed up, you could get this for free. But there are guillotine colors. You can get them on Amazon, so definitely check out Amazon for that if you are interested in one of these. And I'm going to also trim, I'm going to put it on one of these lines to make sure I'm straight here. But I'm going to trim these ends off. And the reason I use such a large piece is I definitely didn't want to have to try and fit it into a small space, even though I wanted this to be rather small. So that's why I had to trim it at the end here. But you can find these, like I said, these guillotine, little baby guillotine cutters on Amazon. Just type in mini guillotine trimmer or cutter, and you should get something to pop up. I'm going to go ahead and put a length of adhesive on the back of it. And then we are going to put this right here. I'm going to make sure that it does not overlap my flap and that it doesn't show when I close, which it doesn't. Perfect. That turned out really good. I hope I was in camera for that. I might have had it a little low. I'm not sure, but hopefully you got to see that. But I did glue it down in this part here so that it doesn't overhang here and that it is right here by the bee. The bee is kind of my guide because he's right there on the edge, so I used him as my guide. And I went ahead and glued that in there. So it says, when they open their card, they're going to get this beautiful card, and it's going to say such happy news, and then inside best of luck. So it's perfect for all kinds of occasions. New baby, new job, retirement. You can make this card for so many different things. The final finishing touch, of course, is our gems, and I am using the Genial Gems. And they come in 2 colors. And I really wanted to pull the green out of the leaves since there is pale papaya pretty much everywhere else. So I'm going to use these large, the larger gems, and they have kind of like flecks of gold in them, which I think is so beautiful and shows off so pretty. So I'm going to put one in this corner on this pale papaya. I'm going to put one over here on the side of my colored floral. And then I'm going to put one more on the bottom section in this open space here. I think that turned out really well. I love adding the bling at the end because it just tops your whole card, doesn't it? I think it's beautiful. All right, so let's go ahead. We're gonna set a little book on there for a minute. Make sure that it will stay flapped. I don't mind if it opens a little bit, but that is our card. It is our collapsible, our overlapping flap card. I hope that you've enjoyed watching me make it. I certainly have enjoyed making it for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm very grateful. I've been on YouTube for about 3 months. I've been blogging for almost 2 years now. And I do blog every single day. So if you check out my website, inkyhandswarmhearts.com, you will find lots of information there. I do blog on a daily basis, so there's always lots of projects, lots of inspiration for you. Thank you for watching my video. Give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. And I will link my website in the description below. Please subscribe so that you will get notifications of when I post new videos, and share my video. I would greatly appreciate your help in growing my channel. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, concerns, or suggestions for new videos, put them in the comments below. I hope that you've enjoyed this one, and thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. This is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping!